guys, welcome back to another Gimpys Gal Guesses. If you're new, I'm Gimpys Gal, and I'll kind of tell you here in a second what I do. But if you have been here before, welcome back. You've seen a lot of me lately, so you're welcome. I know the fans, this is what they wanted, but we're giving it to them, so I'm just kidding. But seriously, I've been on the channel a lot recently. That only means a lot of games have been coming across the table recently. Don't know if I should be happy or mad about that. I mentioned briefly in the last video that game companies should start including something in the boxes for the wives, you know, butter us up a little bit, make it, you know, exciting for us. So it's like, ooh, what surprise is gonna be in the box? And then we're gonna be more likely to like want our husbands to buy a new game because there could be a goodie in it for us, you know what I mean? But I don't think that's gonna happen, so I won't hold my breath. But this game, Gimpy is extra excited about. I don't remember all of the specifics. I believe it's one that he had his eye on for a while. He really wanted. I'm not even sure like if it's new, but I know that the other night he was doing a live, like a show online with some guys in the industry, and one of them said they were going to send it to him because they know how badly he wanted it and he'd been watching it. So that is what this game is, and he is super excited that it's here. So I'm sure whatever details of that little story I've left out, he will fill you in when he does his video on it. But I do know how excited he is, and it literally just got here like yesterday, and it's already here for me to do this. So that's moving pretty quick for us because, again, if you're new, we have 4 kids, the oldest of which is 7, the youngest of which is 1, newly turned 1 like just a couple months ago. And so we have a lot, and I homeschool, and Gimpy is 100% permanent and total disabled veteran, of which I am his full-time caregiver. So I essentially run the house. I mean, let's just be real here. That's what I do. I know. So it makes it hard. You know, it's hard to find time to do the things that we enjoy. And so for it to come in and me to be sitting down to film it like pretty immediate, that's a big deal because a lot of times he'll have things that he wants me to get to, and it's like I'll get to it when I can get to it. But this one, it wasn't even a question. It was like, it's here, I'm excited about it, I want to play it, guess it now so I can open it. So that's what I'm doing. So I mentioned if you were new and you weren't sure of what I'm doing, I'll give you just a brief little like I don't even know the word, a brief little explanation, I guess, preview of what I will be doing and what I do in my little guest segments on this channel. Basically, I unbox the game, go through the contents, and then at the end, I kind of piece together what I've seen and try and give my best guess as to how the game is played. I have never played like a war game, like a real war game. I've played a couple of like card games that are in the war game genre, but are not like this type of a war game. So I don't consider that I've played a real war game. I've kind of just dipped my toes in. So even though I've been around this for a while, because Gimpy's been doing this for a while, I don't know anything about anything, and lots of things still fly over my head. I make a lot of dumb choices. I make a lot of dumb mistakes. It is what it is. We laugh at you know, ourselves here on this channel because life's too short. You gotta laugh at yourself. And with the way the world has been going, we just need some fun lightheartedness. So that's what we do here. So I know we have actually, this just popped in my head, Gimpy. So when you see this needs, we got to get on this. But we've mentioned doing a channel, a separate channel where we're going to talk about things, just any topics. I love true crime. I know he likes talking about current event things, conspiracy theories, you know, just ranting about, you know, something that happened to us. But we just kind of like chit-chatting. We've done a couple of them back when the pandemic first began. We did a couple of them and people liked them and we enjoyed making them. So we thought about possibly doing a channel. We also just got a metal detector, which is fun because I was kind of like, yeah, okay, Gimpy, whatever, a metal detector, one of your new toys, you have this big grand idea that it's going to be so much fun, and it's not. Well, let me tell you, it is. He got it and he took the girls out. I didn't go the first trip. The second time I went with them, and we've been several times since. And we found something the other day I'm not even sure what it is. We need to clean it up, but we've even joked about making that into a channel because it's so much fun to like, when you're digging, like what are we gonna find if we even find anything? So anyway, I've gone on a big long enough tangent. Let's get into this because I know he really wants me to get this one done so he can get his hands on it. So let's jump into it. This is a Compass Games game. It is called Enemy Action Kharkov. It says designed by John Butterfield. It says POPOV versus Popov versus Manstein, February 1943. I like it when it has a year because then I know the win. I usually like to guess who, what, when, where. So I know the win when it gives me a year like that. So thank you. Kudos to Compass Games. That's the front of the box. The back of the box, we have, looks like an example of gameplay. And then, some like history stuff. Says this is the second game in John Butterfield's acclaimed Enemy Action series. And then it has rules specific to Enemy Action Kharkov cover. And then it has some things listed. This is the stuff that I'm more familiar with because it's on a lot of game boxes, and that is like the complexity, time scale, the contents, that kind of stuff. So the complexity on this is medium. It is for 2 players, 5 out of 10, and then solo 7 out of 10. So I'm guessing it means it's better played solo, but it can also be played with 2 players. Time scale says 1 turn equals 3 days. I'm not going to tell the same story that I've told the last 3 videos, but let's just say way back in the day, I took that literal. Map scale, 7.5 miles per hex. Unit scale, regiments, brigades, and divisions. Number of players, 1 or 2. Again, it says that it can be played 2-player, but it looks like it's better solo. Suitability for solitaire is very high, as we just said. Average time to play, it says intro scenario is 1 hour, and while full campaign is 12 hours. Now, if this was a few years back, I would have been like gobsmacked that number's on a box to play a game. But now that I have seen things in person and seen Gimpy get games out and videos and been to conventions, I know that they exist. It's not a myth. Like, there are games that take that long to play, so that's not surprising. And it's recommended for ages 14 and up. The components or the contents, we have 3 22 by 34 inch maps. It says 1 for the 2-player and then 1 for each solitaire game. So I guess there's 2 solitaire games and 1 multiplayer game. It says there are 3 rule books, 1 for each game again. Oh my gosh, this gives me anxiety. 432 counters, 110 playing cards, multiple player aids, and 1 10-sided die. So that is what is in this box. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. But wow, 432 counters. I wonder what the game with the most counters has been, because I definitely have seen him clipping, because yes, if you're an avid gamer, you don't just take the counters out. I guess you can, but sometimes you want to clip them because the edges can be rough, or they could get damaged and tear, so you clip them to make them smoother and kind of easier to maneuver. And I've seen him doing that for like days upon days upon days for games that had like a ridiculous amount of counters. So 432 is probably nothing in the grand scheme of wargaming, but that still is a lot. So let's do the old flipperoo here. I'll just set that there so I can see what I can see what components are in here, so I know kind of a list of things to go through. So here's the 10-sided die. It is your, 10-sided die. Nothing crazy special. It's just a cool 10-sided die. And then there are 110 cards. So isn't that right? 110? Yeah. This is the Soviet player command, and this is the German enemy command. So we'll look at those in a second. This is probably a catalog and discounts, it says. So that's what this is. It's just some games that Compass Game sells, and it said discounts. It said Catalog discounts valid until January 25th, 2022. So these are no longer valid discounts. But it does come with a catalog so you can shop for more games because every gamer needs, you guessed it, more games when you first buy a game. The first thing you want to see at the top of the box that you just opened of your brand new game is a list of more games that you need to add to your shelf. That last game that had the pamphlet in it that said your shelf is too full or your shelf is looking full, that I need a shirt that says that because that's how I feel. I feel like we keep buying bookshelves because we keep filling them up. And that's not really the way to solve that. Instead of adding bookshelves, we need to take away from the bookshelves and clear space on the existing bookshelves for new games. But no. That's not how it works. In the Gimpy household, it's not play a game, enjoy it, and then let's pass it on. It's play a game, love it, put it on the shelf. Play a game, love it, put it on the shelf. Take it back down, put it back up. Take it down, buy 5 more. Get 10 here, get 1 there. That's what it's like for probably every gamer. But anyways, I digress. So yes, catalog. Enemy action Ardennes. This is probably a correction thing. It says card correction specification. Summary, corrections for 12 cards are provided. So it says command cards, allied action cards, German setup cards, and enemy action. So those are the corrections. Again, I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But I mentioned that game companies, just like everyone else, are human and make mistakes. So I like it when they include a little correction paper in the box because sometimes it's a super minor detail that was made a mistake. And instead of having to trash the whole thing and reprint it, it's easier to just pop this in and say, look, if you just make this change, we're good to go and everyone's happy, right? So that's what that is, and that's right on top. Then we have, looks like some player aids. Says there was several. It said multiple, so there was a number. Then we have most of this is the counters. So here are the counters. Looks like another player aid. This is the Soviet solo rules, the 2-player rules, and then the German solo rules. So there were 3 rule books because there's 3 different games in here. And then there are 3 maps. So there's a map for each game and a rule book for each game. So these are the maps. So I'll open that first. Like I'll look at the maps first. So I can put those up and not destroy anything. Okay. So the first map. And they're not too big. And they definitely don't go together because it's 3 different games. So just use 1 map. But this one is the 2-player map. And it says, so right here at the top, 2-player map. So we have game turn calendar. We have, looks like a terrain effects map or chart table, whatever it's called. And then, yeah, Soviet victory points. And yeah, then just numbers and tiles and that sort of thing. So it's a map, but this is the 2-player map and it folds up super easy. And then this, which one was that? That was the 2-player. So this is the 2-player rules. We'll kind of keep them together. So here's the 2-player rule book, which is like 28 pages, it looks like. It is a color rule book. Yeah, so let's see if I was getting ready to make a dumb thing and say, are there scenarios? But there's not. Well, no, there is right here, scenarios. The initial assault, operations, star and gallop, and the campaign game. So there are different scenarios in here. But this is the 2-player rule book. And then this is a solo map, but let's see which one. There's a German one and then what was the other one? This one is the German solo map. It says, so right here, German solo map, we have, again, a Soviet victory points, game turn calendar, terrain effects, table, chart, whatever you want to call it, key up here, And then another, like some places for cards and different things. That was on the other one as well. But this is the German solo map. So it definitely looks different, but a lot of the same things on it, like around, as far as the play goes, it's a lot of the same things, just. So that was the German solo. So here's the German solo rules, which feel thicker. This is, yeah, wow, 52 pages, so a lot bigger. It's double the size of the 2-player, which is surprising because I feel like personally, I would expect the solo to be smaller and the multiplayer to be more rules, but I guess it shows what I know because it's the opposite in this. So, and in this one, again, it's the same scenario. So it says the initial assault, operations, star, and gallop, and then the campaign game. So I guess it's not really scenarios like what I would think as a scenario. It's more the different stages of the game. So, because it did say that to play the intro scenario is only an hour, but a full campaign is 12 hours. So I guess there's 2 different kind of ways to play each game, or 2 different, like, you know what I mean. Anyways, I digress. That is the rule book for the German solo rules. And last is the Soviet solo map, which looks like this. And again, it says Soviet solo map, which I do like because I don't have to really guess and like go digging around. It says it. Super easy. I know which map it is. You're going to know which map it is. Good job, Compass Games. Again, terrain effects table or chart, game turn calendar, places for some cards, Soviet victory points, and then your map with all your different places. So that is the Soviet solo map. And then the Soviet solo rules are probably 50 something, 44 pages. So not as long as the German one, but still almost double what the German one was. No, double what the 2-player one was. So there is that. And I'm sorry, I might have to, okay, sorry. My son can be, when it comes to gaming, he is very much like his daddy. And if it doesn't go his way, or if he doesn't instantly get, like if he's trying to do something and someone messes with him in a game because he likes Roblox and things like that, and someone messes him up, he gets super mad and he just like loses it. And his way, unfortunately, of dealing with it is to just do this really loud kind of whine, yell, cry that drives both my husband and I insane. So I hope you didn't just hear that, but he's much like my husband. My husband has, when he, in our early years of marriage, there was a broken, in our first house together, there's a broken set of blinds in our living room from where he had thrown a controller across the room in a rage. So everyone has those moments, and he's a kid, so, you know, kids have a little more trouble with it, but nevertheless, it can be aggravating. So I apologize for that interruption, but hopefully that will be the only one. But he's definitely his father's son when it comes to that. He's very smart, very, very smart. So this before, and I'm not just saying this because he's my kid. Everyone thinks their kid's the smartest, but teachers have told us before, like, and the doctor, his pediatrician has said he is very advanced for his age. And we used to think it was just his memory, that he just had a really good memory and could just, you know, anything he sees or hears once it is embedded in his mind. And Gimpy used to be like that pre-brain injury. So we thought, oh, well, that's what it is, but it's not just remembering and having an eidetic memory almost. And he really does have, I would dare to say that it's an eidetic memory, but it's more than that because there's an understanding. You can ask him questions about some of the things that he has regurgitated to you, and he can explain them. So it's not just regurgitating information. He has an understanding of it. But sometimes that's a negative because he expects everything to be easy, and everything isn't easy. So when it isn't easy, he wants to quit or he gets mad. So that's something Gimpy definitely struggled with. So if you're watching Gimpy, he's your son and he gets it from you. But anyways, I apologize for the interruption. I apologize for the tangent. Let's get back into it. So Now we're on to the 432 counters, okay? I don't know why in a game that says it is high suitability for solitaire play, you need so many counters, because don't you think if it's solitaire, you're playing by yourself, you need less things and not more things? Anyone else follow me? Or is that just me? Okay, well, here we go. Counter sheet 1 front, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What's 12 times 9? Don't do that math thing you did to me last time where you made it look like it took me forever to do the math when really I only took a couple of seconds and you just played the same clip over and over again. Don't do that to me again. Okay. $108, right? 9 times 2. Yeah, 108 on each one of these. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times that is 32. Yeah, that's 432. So, yep, that is correct. So anyways, counter sheet 1 front looks like this. If you are wanting to kind of get a closer look at these, when I hold it up, if you want to pause the video and then you can screenshot it and you can zoom in and get a better look, you can do that. And I'm just going to hold it up for a couple of seconds. So I'm going to go through these counter sheets a little quicker, but just letting you know, I will hold them there for a few seconds. So at each counter sheet for the front and for the back, if you want a closer look at it, you can pause the video and screenshot it and take a look at it that way. But I'm just going to hold them up for a couple of seconds each and then move on to the next. So here's the first counter sheet, the front, and then the back. And it's so hard for me to gauge this overhead camera and what's in frame and what's out of frame, because with these new like phone cameras and the way they are, and there's like multiple cameras, it looks like you're out of frame, but the lens is so wide and what it can capture that you're definitely in frame when you feel like you're not. So it's hard to gauge where I should be and shouldn't be. So I apologize if I'm ever totally off, but it's hard to look up and guess with the way these cameras look. So there's the back of counter sheet 1, and here's the front of counter sheet 2. And here's the back of counter sheet 2. Again, I'm just gonna kind of flip through them kind of quickly. And I will hold them still for a few seconds so you have time to screenshot if you would like. Front of counter sheet 3. Back of counter sheet, I almost said counter sheet 3. I don't even know what time it is. So last night I went out with some moms, some fellow homeschool moms. We had a mom's dinner and it was much needed. I don't get out much just because I can't leave Gimpy alone because of his seizures and the kids, and so I don't get out much. So last night I was able to get out for a few hours, and of course our power, knock on wood, never goes out here. It'll flicker. It flickers actually quite a lot. Almost every time it rains or storms, it will at least give us a little flicker, and it's annoying, but it never stays off. And in fact, I can only remember in the almost 5 years we've lived here, one time that it went off for more than a second, right after we moved in, and they came out and fixed it that night. And it wasn't the whole house, it was only half the house that was out, and they fixed it. But other than that, like, the power has never gone off and stayed off that I can remember since we've been in this house. But of course, last night a bad storm came through right as I got to dinner, which was only about 10 minutes from here. But right as we got there, this bad storm came through. It was a very quick storm. It was just super windy. It rained for a few seconds. There might have been a tornado somewhere around. Someone said there was, but I didn't see confirmation of that. But it was really bad. It was really super windy, and it was very dark, and it looked very scary because it looked tornado-y out there. And Gimpy was home with the kids, and of course the power goes out, and of course it stays out. So he was home for a couple of hours, and it was miserable. Thankfully, the neighbors were around, so they are able to kind of help keep an eye on him and make sure that, you know, nothing happens if I have to leave for a little bit. But oh my gosh, we were gonna go to a hotel because our kids and us, let's be real, Gimpy and I are just as dependent, but we rely on screens and they just don't know what to do without the lights on. And so even though we had tablets and games and things to do, they just did not want to be here. They were scared of the dark. They didn't like the dark. And so we're like, let's just go to a hotel so we can be cool because it was getting hot and everyone will be happy. We'll get some sleep. We'll come back tomorrow. It'll be back on. So we had to go around. Every hotel was full. We finally find a room. It's the last room at this hotel. I'm at the desk checking in. It's almost midnight and I get a text that our power's back on. So we canceled and came home. That's another story all in of itself, but that was our night last night. So poor Gimpy, that's not a great way to start his Father's Day weekend, but we'll make sure he has a good day tomorrow. But that was, again, another side tangent. I'm sorry, but here is the last and final counter sheet for the front. I don't even know why I was calling that. I just thought it was very ironic that I don't ever leave. Like, I'm never gone. And this one time that I was gone for a couple of hours, the power was out and it was the summer, so it was miserably hot and they were all scared and miserable and it was just not a good time. Thankfully, our van has TVs, has TV screens in them, so they were able to at least keep cool in the van. But that's a van, it's a small space, so that was not ideal. So if anybody else lives around here or lived anywhere where that weather hit, it was pretty gnarly, but hopefully everybody's staying safe because it's starting to get to that time of year where we probably get a storm every day here in North Carolina. All right, so these must be all that's left, it looks like, is the multiplayer or the multiple player aids. Again, there wasn't a number, it just says multiple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably 2 for each. Oh wait, 7. So 7. I was gonna say probably 2 for each of the different, the solitaire for the Soviets, the solitaire for German, and then the multiplayer, but I don't know, we'll see. This says reserves, replacements, and garrisons. This says solo at the top. So I do like how this definitely clearly marks which is for solo play and which is for the multiplayer. And also because there's 2 different solo types, the Soviet and the German, it tells you. So this is the Soviet solo player aid. And it's, again, the reserve, replacement, and garrisons thing. And then you open it up and it says German activations part 1. German activations part 2. So my guess is when it says Soviets, it means you're playing as the Soviets and they're the auto-played party that the game plays as is German. So that's why it's telling you what they do, because you're going to make your own moves and they're going to move the other team for you so you can play alone. Hence why it's called solo. So German activations part 2, and then the back says supply, Soviet support, and withdrawal. So that is one of the player aids for the Soviet solo game. Here's another one. Again, it says German combat tactics and events. It does say Soviet solo at the top, so again, I like that. And then we have combat procedures part 1 and combat procedures part 2. And then the back says Soviet combat tactics and events. So again, that is another player aid for the Soviet solo game. Then we have the German solo. This is the combat tactics for that game. And then this is the combat procedures 1 and 2 for the German solo game. And then the command events and special events on the back for the German solo game. So this one feels very I got it on this one. I sound like I know what I'm talking about, even though I don't. Compass Games just made it super easy because they labeled it all. So I really am not that knowledgeable, or I don't know what I'm talking about. They make it easy. They make me look like I know what I'm doing. Key rules and summary, or key rules summaries for German solo, for the German solo game. And so this is another player aid for that. And then Soviet activation steps 1 and 2, and then Soviet activations step 2 continued. And then the back is Soviet activation steps AS 3-7, whatever that means. But again, this is another player aid for the German solo. And if we remember looking at the rulebook, the German solo rulebook was the largest one. So I guess that's why it has the most player aids. Or maybe they were just all together, who knows. Soviet command card display. This is for the Soviet solo game. So this is for you, I would guess. And the back is a terrain effects chart and miscellaneous. On the back is a German solo terrain effects chart. Probably because if you're playing the Soviet solo, you would need the terrain effect so you can use it on the back of this one. Yeah, see those two match. See how genius that is? So the Soviet solo card display has the German terrain effects on the back of it because when you're playing it, you wouldn't be able to use it. Duh. And then here's the terrain effects chart. And then you flip them and it's reverse for the German. So the back of the Soviet terrain effects chart is in fact the German command card display, and the back of the Soviet card display is in fact the German terrain effects chart. So how cool is that? And then we have the 2-player. So it says 2-player, combat tactics and events. Looks like it's just this one. Key rules, summaries, combat procedures, and then the terrain effects chart and miscellaneous is on the back for the 2-player. So those are all the like big components of the game. Then we have, of course, a bag of baggies. You can never go wrong with a bag of baggies. You can never have too many bag of baggies. All you can do to make the bag of baggies better is if you made the bag of baggies a color bag of baggies, because then it would be a colorful bag of baggies that would make me happy. I just liked saying bag of baggies. But yeah, so we have some bags there to store the 432 counters in. Then we have German setup cards here. Like the back of this one says Allied Action Strengthen. It says situation unit proximate to but not stacked with unit / stack with total strength, blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but these are the German setup cards. I wonder if all of them are German setup or if there's German, Soviet, and 2-player. So let's take a peek and see. Yeah, I was right. German setup here, German command, Allied command, German command, German command, Allied action, German command, Allied action, German command, Allied action. So yeah, there's a mix of different cards in here, but I guess you use them in all of the games probably. So there is one little pack of cards, and then we have the German enemy command deck and then the Soviet player command. So let's open this. Probably just gonna open one so I don't get them mixed up or confuse him any, but we have these handy bag of baggies that we could use, right? So let's do that. Let's grab 2 out. Will those fit? Yeah. 2 bags out of the handy dandy bag of baggies so we can store our card. And then we put the bags back in the bag and put the bag of baggies back in the box. All right, so German enemy command, we have this on the back. I'm not reading it because it's like making me want to just like curl into a ball and cry. So many words, so many German words, which just sound angry. And I can say that because my dad was German, so I can say that. I just mean that like that's what his last name is from, but he's not like, anyways, yeah, these are the, oh wait, they're not all the same. So look, we have German enemy command and then Soviet enemy command. Okay, and then German player command. I'm just gonna put them all together, but like, yeah, there's different. So we have Soviet enemy command, German enemy command, and then we have German player command, and then Soviet player command. So that's probably the 4 different kinds. Again, because there's solo versions of the game and multiplayer. So I don't know like what goes with what, but those are just the cards. And I would attempt to read the back of them to you, but I know it will just confuse me, so I'm not going to do that to myself or you. I'm not going to torture you with how dumb I would sound trying to guess some of it, or, you know. Okay, and then we'll open this one, even though I'm not going to, because it's going to probably be the same thing, and that's just annoying. So So that's everything that comes in this game. Again, Gimpy was so excited, so I know he's going to be happy that this is done so he can get his hands on it because he was so excited. I forget who it was who sent it to him, but they were very generous to do so, and he's so excited. So that was my unboxing of Enemy Action Kharkov. Now I'm going to guess how you play, even though it's a war game, and I know there's 3 versions. It says in 1943, so I'm guessing all of them take place then. And then you either can play 2-player, which is doable, but it's better played solo. And you either play as the Germans or the Soviets, and you're fighting against the other ones. And that's what this game is. There's the dice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, Gimpy's super excited to open this one up and play it. So be looking for the video where he does that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And really quickly, I don't think this will be up in time because tomorrow is Father's Day, and that's Sunday is usually a game or a day that Gimpy takes off and doesn't really do any editing. So I doubt this will be up in time for Father's Day. It will probably go up after Father's Day. But I hope you all have an amazing Father's Day or had an amazing Father's Day. Thank you for being wonderful fathers to your families. And Gimpy, a special happy Father's Day to you. We love you. You're the bestest Gimpy daddy in the whole world. And the kids and I adore you, and we would not be able to survive without you. So thank you for being ours. We love you. And everybody else, we will see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye, guys.